All right, guys, welcome back to another one. I am the Gold Standard, and today we are getting into it with the updated OP-09 Purple Luffy. And guys, I have to say this deck was already really good at the end of OP-08, like 8.5, but now he is just insane. He is definitely peaking right now and seeing a lot of success both locally and at the big tournaments, including a 5th place finish at Nats. So guys, today we're going to look at what makes this deck tick, break down the different main components of it, go through the ideal lines of play, and then take a look at some different tech options. So guys, sit back, kick your feet up, and let's play some One Piece. Okay, so first things first, let's go over his leader ability, which reads, activate main. Once per turn, you may take the top card from your life cards to your hand. If the amount of Dawn on your field is 0 or 3 or more, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck as active. So basically what you're doing with his leader ability is you take a life card and you get an active Dawn for it. Now it should be noted that you can't actually use it on your first turn, whether you're going first or second. That's what it means when it says 0 or 3 or more. So the general strategy with Luffy here is that he is a ramp deck. And so what this means is that you're trying to beat your opponent to your key cards before they can because you simply have more Dawn to do it. Now, ramp decks alone are really nothing special in One Piece, like there are lots of them. But what makes this deck in particular very strong is that it also has the ability to develop massive card advantage over your opponent. And so what ends up happening is because of the combination of drawing life cards into your hand and some of the other cards in this deck, yes, you can ramp out big bodies quickly, but then you can also use all of the cards in your hand to not only protect them, but protect your life. So now let's break down the key parts of this deck so that you can see how they synergize and make that work. So up first, we have the ramp engine. And the number one card for this is just going to be your leader, because his ability means that you can basically ramp all the time just for the cost of 1 life, which is pretty nice because it means that your ramp is not card dependent. Like you always have a way to ramp in this deck. Up next, we've got Bon Clay, and Bon Clay is a card that not everyone's using in this deck, but I love it. But his ability reads, on play, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck as active, and then when attacking, you can choose up to one of your opponent's characters. This character's base power becomes the same as the selected character's power during this turn. Basically, you attack in with Bon Clay, you can pick one of their characters and he matches their power. Now, it should be noted that you can't actually use it on their leader, so if they've only got stuff like chump blockers or, 1k searchers in, that makes Bon Clay kind of irrelevant. The reason I like Bon Clay in this deck is because if you're playing into someone like Shanks or Blackbeard, and they're coming up on their 10 Dawn turn, you can drop a Bon Clay, and now they have to make some serious considerations as to what their next turn is going to look like, because they basically have to decide whether they're going to try and figure out a way to remove Bon Clay or play their 10 drop, and now you get your own free 10 drop because of it. And so that's how I like to use Bon Clay, is just 1 turn ahead of what they might be doing. And then finally in the ramp engine, you've got the 5 drop 6k Eustace Kid blocker, who reads, on your turn, once per turn, when a Dawn card from your field is returned to your Dawn deck, you can add 1 Dawn card as active. And so you'll see later, but there are a bunch of cards that you return Dawn to your Dawn deck. And if you have this on field, it basically acts as a ramp card. So that's your ramp engine. And in truth, like I said, really the only ramp you need is your leader, because you could actually build decks, and I've seen them, that aren't even using either one of these 2 cards. Cool. So now let's take a look at what I call the card advantage system. And before we get into that, I just briefly want to touch on what card advantage is. So the idea of card advantage is actually very simple. It's simply that if you have more cards in your hand than your opponent, you are at an advantage because you have more options. A way to look at this is if we look at it in an extreme scenario, which is if you have 0 life, no blockers, and your opponent has their leader and all of their Dawn, the most that they can swing for is 15k, maybe 16 if they're a 6k leader. Now, if you have like 20 cards in your hand and you still have 0 life, no matter what they do on their turn, they can't beat you. And so if we scale that back and simply think about it from your opponent's perspective, if you just have a lot of cards in your hand and they're planning out their attacks, they have to take into consideration the fact that you probably have not only a lot of 2k counters, but potentially event cards that also help you out. And so this will influence how they play the game and give you an advantage over them. That's the simplest way to think about card advantage. So now let's take a look at all the ways that you generate card advantage in this deck. So up first, you have your searchers. You have the 1-cost Law, who is a 2k attacker and a 1k counter, but you look at the top 4 and you can draw a Straw Hat or a Heart Pirate. You also have the 4-cost Zorojoro, who is a 6k with no counter, and he is on play, look at the top 5 and grab another Straw Hat. So these are both like you play the card and you replace a card. So you end up at net neutral with these 2. Next up, we have cards that actually just generate card draw. And the first is Sangoro, who is a 5-cost 6k character with 1k counter, who when attacking, once per turn, if you have 8 or more Dawn, you just draw a card. We have the new 9-cost 10k Monkey D Luffy, who is on play. You may return one or more Dawn to your Dawn deck, draw a card, and gain Rush. So this is another where you're generating just one extra card. And these two are what I call filter and draw, because for instance, Gum Gum Giant is a 1-cost event that Dawn -2, you can trash one card from your hand, and then your leader or character gains plus 4,000, and then you draw 2 cards. Nami is a 4-cost 2k blocker with a 1k counter, whose on play is basically the same, which is if you have 8 or more Dawn cards on your field, you can trash 1 card and draw 2 cards. So both of these are allowing you to trash basically bricks from your hand. So like if you don't need Zoro anymore because he doesn't have counter, you can pitch that for both of these, and then you're drawing 2 cards to replace it. So like I said, this is like filter and draw. And then finally, another way that you can develop more card advantages from your life. And so we've talked about the leader because you're just drawing life cards into your hand. But another example of this in the deck that people I think overlook is that Lin, who is a 9-cost 9,000 character, her on-play ability is Dawn -1. You may trash 1 card from your hand and then add the top card of your deck to your life, and then also remove a 6-cost or less from your opponent's board and put it on the top or bottom of their life. So basically what you're doing here is you're pitching potentially a brick from your hand. Like again, Zoro, you might not need him anymore. And then you're putting another card on top of your life. And so because you're going to draw that life card at some point anyway, you end up actually generating some card advantage with this card. Because you're playing all of these cards in this deck, I mean, look at this. This is 8 different ways that you're gaining card advantage over your opponent. When you play this deck, or when you're playing into Purple Luffy players, it will feel like they always have cards in their hand. And that's because they do, because that's like one of the main strengths of this deck. So keep that in mind when you are playing this deck, because it is a very important concept and it does help you outmaneuver in the end game. So now let's take a look at the top end in this deck, because this is really what you're trying to ramp towards. The most important card, like the staple of this deck and why it's so amazing right now, is the 7-cost 8k Luffy-Tarou, who reads on play Dawn -1, play up to 1 purple Straw Hat crew type character with a cost of 5 or less from your hand. So you ramp to 7 Dawn, you drop Luffy, and you get another 5 cost, which as you'll see later is absolutely insane. Next up we have Sanji, who is a 7-cost 7k character with a 1k counter, which is pretty cool. On play, you may return 1 or more Dawn cards from your field to your Dawn deck, and this character gains Rush, and then rest up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 6 or less. So at 7 Dawn, you drop him, you minus your 1 Dawn, you get the Rush, and then you can rest one of their characters to either then attack into it and remove it, or if you're going for game or something like that, you can rest one of their blockers and swing in with Sanji at life. So amazing card, works really good in this deck. Next up, we've got the new 9-cost Luffy, which we already talked about, but you know, he gains Rush, draws the card. You can play him on curve at 9. And then finally, Lin. Again, we already talked about her, but you know, another big body on 9k character who's basically giving you life and removing something off of their board. So that's your top end. And in particular, Luffy-Tarou is the one that's like the most important component of this deck, I would argue. And because of that, let's talk about all the different cards you could play off of him. So the main cards that you're looking for in particular is Sangro. You go Luffy-Tarou into Sangro, and then the next turn you start getting your card draw. If you don't have Sangro, another good option is to play your Zoro off of Luffy-Tarou, because you're still developing a body that's a 6k character, just like Sangro, and then you are drawing a card. Now, some other optional main ones that you can use in a pinch are Frenosuke, who is a 5-cost 4k character who is a 2k counter, but reads Dawn ×1. If you have 8 or more Dawn cards on your field, this character gains Rush. So say you're at 10 Dawn, you can drop Luffy-Tarou in and Frenosuke, and then you can put the 3 remaining Dawn on Frenosuke and swing in for 7 with Rush. So fun little combo. Also nice to know that if you just need to develop a body off of Luffy-Tarou, you can with Frenosuke. Now, the most important thing about Frenosuke is that his ability is not actually on play. It's just Dawn ×1, which means that you can use him against Blackbeard and gain the Rush ability. And so a lot of times Blackbeard matchups will come up to that end point where they have, like, you know, their big Blackbeard blockers down, and you just need one even mid-size attack to go through, because usually their hand is pretty small at that point. Frenosuke is that option for you in this deck. And then finally, you can play your blocker Onami off of Luffy-Tarou as well. And so now you're developing a blocker, you're developing Luffy-Tarou, and you're getting a little card draw and filter. Now, here are some big maybes, but these are cards that you can play off of Luffy-Tarou, and I put them in here because, like, it'd be extremely situational that you would do these. First up, you've got Uso Hachi, who is a 3-cost 3k character that is also a 2k counter, but reads on play, if you have 8 or more Dawn cards, you can rest up to 1 of your opponent's characters with 5 or less. So maybe you've already got like a pretty big board established and you're not necessarily going for game, but you want to just clear some of their stuff off their board or just put some pressure on them. You could say drop Luffy-Tarou into an Uso Hachi and rest one of their blockers, or rest an important character that they have on their board, and then swing into it with your board and still have 3 Dawn left over to do something with. Very situational situational, but it is an option. Same thing with this new 2-drop 2K Nico Robin, who is a blocker and also has 1K counter. Like if you need to develop another blocker and a big body and then do something extra with the 3 Dawn on a 10 Dawn turn, you could technically drop her off of Luffy-Tarou. And then finally, this one is highly niche. And the only reason I know that this is possible is because I did it in a gameplay. But if you're on 10 Dawn and they're on 10 Dawn, if they swing into you twice and you use 2 Gum Gum Giants, technically you are at 6 Dawn and then you go into your next turn at 8 Dawn. This means that Sanji's ability is online because what he does is if you have 2 or less Dawn, his cost becomes reduced by 3 in your hand. So he's normally a 6 cost 6k character with a 2k counter and is a blocker. But if you have 2 or fewer Dawn than your opponent, he's technically a 3 cost. And so you can actually drop Luffy-Tarou into Sanji in like a highly niche scenario. Now, is it going to happen? Who knows? Maybe it will, but it's worth knowing. So these are all the cards that you could play off of Luffy-Tarou. All right, guys. So now that you know what all the cards are in this deck and how they work together, let's take a look at the ideal curves going even and odd. Now, with Purple Luffy, you definitely want to be going first, which puts you on the odd curve. And here's why. So turn 1, you're going to play your Law Searcher and find one of the Straw Hats that you still need. And the ones you're particularly looking for are Luffy-Tarou or Sangoro. And after that, you'll end the turn with 1 Dawn. Turn 2, you're going to use your leader ability to ramp, which puts you at 4 Dawn. You're going to use it to play your Zoro Searcher and then find whatever other Straw Hat you haven't found yet. Again, one of these 2 pieces. And you're going to end that turn with 4 Dawn. Turn 3, this is where you're going to ramp again. So this puts you down at 3 life. And so it's worth protecting life in between these 2 turns just so that you can ramp and come up to Luffy-Tarou on curve. Then you're going to hit Luffy-Tarou here, minus the 1 Dawn, play your Sangoro, and you're going to end that turn at 6 Dawn. Now, I have Sanji here on turn 4, and that's because obviously in a perfect world, you're just going to hit rush, keep going, and applying pressure to your opponent. Now, Sanji does also have the ability to rest a 6 cost or less, so you can actually use him to, you know, mitigate some problems on the board. But turn 4 is kind of flexible in the sense that you could also play like a Kid Blocker or maybe a Bond Clay or something like that. But for the purposes of an ideal curve, I've got Sanji in here. Turn 5, same kind of thing. I've got the Rush Luffy or Lin because after you've played Sanji, you will be at 7 Dawn, and then you'll go into this turn at 9 Dawn. And you'll be able to use one of these on curve. Again, this turn could also be very flexible because you might want to actually play a Bond Clay going into your opponent's next turn. These turns are basically non-negotiable, though. If you're on the odd curve, this is pretty much what you want to hit every time. The only exception is maybe going into Blackbeard because you're not going to have your on-play abilities on this turn, perhaps. So you might play something else here. Now let's take a look at the even curve. And guys, if you are getting any value out of this video, please hit that like button and subscribe. It really does help me out on my quest to 1,000 subscribers. And guys, we are so close, I could throw a rock at it at this point. So thank you so much for the support. And speaking of support, guys, if you are already planning on buying cards and you want to help the channel out even more, think about using the code that I have in the description of all my videos. It gives me a small percentage of your purchase. And currently we are sitting at almost $15. So thank you so much, guys. I plan on using this for giveaways and stuff. So when it hits like $100, buying a box of whatever the newest set is and giving it away on the channel. So again, thank you guys so much for the support. If you use the code, great. If not, no worries. Now let's get back into it. Cool. So now let's take a look at the even curve, which I actually think is somewhat more interesting, and you could argue different play lines. Turn 1, you're still going to hit your Searcher and find one of the Straw Hats that you need for later. You're going to end that turn with 2 Dawn. Now turn 2, you could argue something like Bond Clay or your Searcher again, but I think that the optimal line of play is to use your leader ability to ramp and play your 5-drop Kid Blocker. And this is because you end the turn with 5 Dawn, so that means on turn 3, you come up to 7 Dawn and you can play Luffy-Tarou, minus the 1 Dawn, play Sangoro, and then get the 1 Dawn back. This means that you end turn 3 with 7 Dawn, which puts you at 9 Dawn for turn 4, allowing you to play one of your 9 drops on curve, which is absolutely insane because look at the board state you've created. You either have a 10 or a 9k, an 8k, a 6k attacker that's drawing cards, and a 6k blocker. And also, if you're on the odd curve, you end up ramping twice, which puts you at 3 life. And so you end up burning counter to protect stuff. Yes, you're applying insane pressure, but you are lower on life. Here, you've only ramped once. You also have a blocker to protect life if you need to. And so you can probably just take the hit here in between these 2 turns. So like I said, this is what I argue is the ideal even curve. Let me know what you guys are doing in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys and see what you think. Because again, Bond Clay is not a terrible option on turn 2. I just prefer him later to put pressure on their 10 Dawn turns. All right, guys, last but not least, I want to talk about a couple tech options that I'm seeing. Now, the first main one is this vanilla Usopp, who is a 4-cost 6k character with a 1k counter. And the reason that people are playing this is because he is a Straw Hat, so he's searchable, but you can also drop him off of Luffy-Tarou if you don't see Sangoro Luffy-Tarou or, you know, one of your other Joros. Another is the Queen blocker, who is a 5-cost 6k blocker with 1k counter. It's not searchable, but it is Dawn -1, and you draw 2, trash 1. It's very similar to your Onami blocker, except that it's a little bit more robust, and so it can survive blocking if you use counter, and it can also attack in a pinch. And the other one that I'm seeing a lot of is the 4-cost 5k Law blocker, who is also a 1k counter, who reads Dawn -1 if your opponent has 7 or more cards in their hand. You may trash 2 cards from their hand. And honestly, this is great into matchups like Doffy, where they're getting a very large hand size, and then you can drop this and burn 2 cards. It is also searchable off your Law Searcher, but it cannot be dropped off of Luffy-Tarou. And then finally, guys, I put Magellan in. This is like a troll tech option. And really, this tech option is if you're playing into a lot of Blackbeards or even Shanks. But if you look at his ability, he's a 5-cost 6k character whose on play is Dawn -1. Your opponent returns 1 of their Dawn cards to their Dawn deck. And then on the opponent's turn, when this character is KO'd, your opponent returns 2 Dawn cards to their Dawn deck. So if we take, for instance, Blackbeard, and you drop Magellan, most likely by the time you're at 5 Dawn, they're already using their leader ability. So you're not going to get the on-play effect from Magellan. But then you just basically get a free swinger because they're not going to remove this. And so you're going to end up getting like several turns of just swinging with Magellan, because they're not going to want to do anything about it. And so guys, do I recommend putting Magellan in the deck? Not exactly, but more as if you want to troll one of your Blackbeard friends, put this in there. It'll surprise them and it'll really mess up their game plan. All right, guys, that's all I've got for our boy Luffy here. I hope all this helps get you going and winning games with this deck. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. I really do appreciate all of you, and let's get into some gameplays.
All right, we're in it with a Doffy. We get to pick, so we'll take first. We got a mulligan. Okay, we do have this, so we can dig up the Sanguro on curve. We have a Gum Giant, which is always awesome. We don't have the search on turn 1, which is painful, which is sad, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Okay, so Sengoku into Buggy. I like the Buggy play. Most people opt for like Perona and stuff, but I personally like Buggy because it is a 2K also. So we take that, go here. We don't get the Sanguro, unfortunately, here. Do we need the blocker? No, we pretty much have to just go Luffy-Tarou again. Interesting, very interesting. Okay, so he does teach here. Load, swings for 8, which we have to take. And I mean, that's actually good. We can use that on curve. Problem is we'll be down to 2 at that point. So we pretty much have to take this. Or we can like use these together. Oh, that's painful though. Do we want to? Let's see what he does with this. Probably counters here. Yeah. Okay. I mean, we pretty much have to do it this way. We do get a 2K, which is good. And of course, now we get Sanguro. I mean, we could get another 2K here, which actually probably is more helpful. Sanguro, I don't think, yeah, we pretty much need the 2K here. So he gets 2 attacks. He can teach, you know, one of them. So it'll be a big attack. Next turn, we got to start getting some blockers developed. I mean, I can play a Luffy-Tarou into one of these blockers, which is decent. We can Lin potentially teach out of here if we need to. We'll just see what he does here. We've also got this for, yeah. Okay, so we drop Uso Hachi. We need to save 1 Uso Hachi. So I don't want to necessarily let him know that I have Uso Hachi yet, just in case. Yeah, because then he boas, he puts this on, and then he swings in here for what, like 8? 9? Probably 9, right? 8. Because he gets the 1 on, 2, yeah, saves the 1 up, drops something in. Okay, cool. Yep. Puts all that on there. Okay, do we have enough to counter that? No, so we have to take that. Painful, very painful. Okay, but we do have 2 Gum Giants here, which is kind of nice. I have a Searcher that I can get another 2K with, maybe. We got to clear some of this board. He's only got 5 cards in hand, 4 cards. Do we Luffy-Tarou into Onami here? That's the question. Or do we just play 2 Onamis? And I think we have to Luffy-Tarou into an Onami. So we got 7, so we can go 6. But I need the 1-up. I need the 1-up for Gum Gum Giant. Gives that to us. Cool. Gives that to us. Okay. Honestly, totally fine with that. I'm surprised he didn't just let us have that. Oh, wow. Okay. Gonna burn everything. So then we go, what, 2 blockers here? Because, yeah, we have to. Yeah, we go to blocker. What do we want to trash? We don't need you anymore. Ooh, that could be useful to finish this. Go here. Don't need one of these. And we'll end the turn. So our mans has some big decisions here. I was hoping to leave the 1-up for a Gum Gum, but alas, we had to get 2 blockers in. I mean, he could still math this out. There's no doubt about that. Let's see what kind of counter we've got. All of these don't have counter. Wow. Okay. We still have her or her. Okay. We'll see what he does here. So he goes 6 here, which we definitely just give him a 2K here. Okay. Bounces that back. To bounce that back. Okay. Okay. Reasonable. Evil. And what's he do here? Just a 1K swing. Honestly, great. Absolutely great. What do we give him? Bond Clay is not good for us anymore. Yeah, so we give Bond Clay. Pass the turn to us. So we need to gain a life, I think. And we can put Boa back on his life and start kind of attacking in. I think that's probably the move here. And it saves us 1 so that we can still play this. I mean, he's not going to block, so give him 2 cards. I think that's what we have to do here. We got to get him, we got to get moving in at least some direction. Okay, so then we Lin, drop one of these, gain 1 life, and we'll put, I guess we got to put her on their life. Yeah. Add to the bottom. Okay. So we have a Gum Gum Giant. We still have our Rush Luffy too next turn, so we can, like, you know, keep 1 Dawn up. Depending on what he does here with blockers. Okay, grab blades us. Great. Yep. Yep. Okay, loads that. What's he get? Jinbei? 7. 7 on 8. So, yeah, we give him this. Oh, no. We're only going to be at 9 Dawn next turn. That sucks. That's all right. And we pitch. What do we pitch here? Got to pitch this. And we'll give the him. Okay, we get the card draw. Actually, this is good. 2K, so Uso Hachi, you're out, I believe. Yeah. Okay. And then we take the 7 here. Okay, another Uso Hachi. Wonderful. Okay, so we have a bunch of searchers. We got to clear this board again. Might be able to find some more blockers. I mean, we have Kid. I wanted to get this guy in, but I think Kid will be better here. So we go Kid. So we need what? We've got 7. So we've got 2 to work with. Actually, 1 to work with. So let's go 6 on Law there. Assume they give us a 2K. Wow, they do not. Okay. Let's go 8. It's fine. Let's go 9. Let's go Kid. Let's go here. I mean, that's a good blocker and a 2K. So we'll take that. And I mean, we can take another blocker for next turn, maybe. Sure. And the turn. So ideally, we don't go to 0 this turn because he can keep Perfume Femur. That'd be a perfect world situation, but we'll see. We shall see. Because technically, I can drop Sanji and this blocker next turn because we'll be at 10. Okay, so he does Weevil here. Pudding. Wow. That was actually a decent pudding. Good on him. Good on him. So we got to counter this one because I don't want him to have Perfume Femur in hand. So yeah, we go here and we go here and here. And then he swings 5 and we give him 1. Yeah. It is what it is. Okay. So we got a 2K. Jeez. So we have a blocker. We can search somebody up, maybe get another blocker for next turn, develop the body. I mean, we have to do it that way. Problem is when we play this, we have to pitch something. And I don't necessarily feel like... so let's go, what, 7? I really don't want to do this to pitch this, but we might just have to. And throw Kamazu down even. Yeah, let's go 7. See if we can't clear this bad boy. We'll get this out of here. What do we trash? It's got to be Zoro, which sucks because we need the 2K. Yeah. We do come up on top there, which is nice. So I think we go 5. 8. 9. And end the turn. So if he has another grab blade, we're just absolutely cooked. Well, not absolutely, but pretty good and cooked. We'll just see. But the hesitation to me feels like he does not have a grab blade. Okay, Boa. This is when I wish we had our Uso Hachis back. From next turn. Yeah, there's already 2 in trash. Whatever. Let's see what he gets here. So we know that there's at least a 0 counter coming up into his hand. We'll see what we can stop here in terms of swings, because I also have Furnosuke who has rush next turn. So, I mean, that's good. So I'll probably have to pitch Kamazu for this. I don't want to get to 0 because then he can just perfume Femur and get something through. So we'll see. We'll see what he does. Let's just see. Go 7 here. I'm just going to burn the blocker. He can have that. Goes 8. And then what does he have? I mean, it doesn't matter at this point, though, what he has, because we still have Furnosuke. So, yeah, we'll go here. And we'll drop this, give this. Cool. And we get 2K back anyway, so dropping Kamazu is not the end of the world there. What does he load? So we take 8. Well, we'll see what he puts in here. Another. Yeah, so we just take this and see what happens. Oh, guys. So we get this. We could even use this still too. So let's go Uso Hachi, rest this. So what do we have? We have 9. We can go 9, 9, 8, 9. There's no shot he makes it through that. Yeah. Honestly, though, I don't think that he was going to make it through anyway, even with Furnosuke, because there's just absolutely no way. Because if we had Furnosuke and then we just kept swinging, like, it was over. Yeah, GG's. GG's. That was a fun one. GG's. All right, we are in it with a Shanks. We'll take first. Man, that is... I mean, we have the Searcher. We can play him out. I'm going to keep this. That is a great opening hand, because we go here, we can drop, Sangoro. And then the next turn we can maybe get, or that was Luffy-Tarou. Anyway, the next turn we can maybe get Sangoro. If not, we could always, drop Bon Clay in or something. We'll see. Yeah, so we go here. Okay. Go here. And there is a Sangoro. So I feel like we have to take that. Yeah. That's what we got to do. So, yeah, he just leader abilities us. But you got to try, You always got to try that shot, guys. So he goes 6 here. We counter that. We definitely counter that. Because I'm about to take my own life to play Sangoro on the next turn. Yep. So we Sangoro here into, or Luffy-Tarou into Sangoro. Let me just go 5-5, see what we can get. And I am going to probably drop a Bon Clay in at some point, just because if it stays on the board against Shanks, like, you just get such a valuable shot in the late game. I got some blockers and stuff too, so we can, like, drop him in next turn. What do we be at? We'll be at 7, so I could put him in. We'll just see. We'll see what he does here. Okay, and we'll go here. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Okay, so he's going to drop that. Swings in, huh? I mean, nothing to do about that, but take it. So that's that. Okay, Rayleigh. So now we'll start getting card draw, which is nice. Okay. So we'll be at 5. Or we'll be at 8. So, I mean, I could just drop another Sanguro in here, and then we can just start, like, really drawing cards. We can get a blocker down. And that still leaves us quite a bit of Dawn to work with. So let's go. I do want to get this Hongo out of here. It's going to be a pain in the butt later. So let's go Hongo. Let's attack into Hongo here. It'd be nice if he... Well, we'll see what he does here. Yeah. Okay. So we had swing, get the card draw. I mean, that's honestly decent too. Interesting. He still hasn't used the leader ability. So what do we go? We go. So we're at 8. So we'll be at 10 next turn. So Bon Clays are kind of not important now. We definitely get a Nico blocker in. I guess we just swing. Got 7 up. Sanguro into Nico. I guess that's the move here. So let's just go. We'll swing. Takes that. Cool. And drop in Nico and the turn. Because now I can protect one of these if he tries to swing with his leader, and I doubt he's going to burn his blocker to attack. Okay, Rayleigh comes down, so he KOs the block. Oh, he KOs a Sanguro. Kind of cool with that. Kind of cool with that. Do we want the rush for Nosuke here? I kind of want to save this. Yeah, we'll get rid of Furnosuke here. If he swings with the blocker, that's, yeah, not happening. Okay. I mean, Bon Clay is still kind of good here, guys. Because now he has the 8K on board. We still have a blocker. Okay, so what do we want to do? Because next turn he's going to get his, he'll get his Shanks in. I kind of do want to drop one of these so that it makes his Shanks even more unappealing to him. And maybe Sanguro? Let's see. Maybe a blocker kid. I think Sanguro would be better here. So it leaves us with 1 Dawn active to do something with. So so we'll swing for, we got to swing with him anyway. Get the card draw. That's nice. Because if I put a Bon Clay in, it really deters him from putting a Shanks in. Like, he'd probably want to put another Rayleigh in instead. Okay, so he buffs that down. Let's see what he does here. Does he just give us the blocker? He does. Sort of okay with that, actually. Because we have 9. Yeah, so we just go for life here. Because I'll put in Kid and Bon Clay. That way we can save some of our board. And like I said, if he plays Shanks here, like, awesome. Okay, another Rayleigh. So he does go for the Rayleigh route. KO's Bon Clay, I'm assuming. Yeah, that's why I did the Rayleigh or the Bon Clay, because it pretty much forces Rayleigh to come out. And then he gets 2 swings, maybe 3. And next turn I have go 6 on 3 here. Problem is I don't want to keep Sanguro, or I wanted to, but we'll give him that. Because he gets 1 more attack. 8 on 5. Yeah, I'm just going to give him that. See if he swings with this. Another building snake. My goodness. So we can kind of do a similar thing here and go into Bon Clay again. Go Sanguro, Bon Clay. I think that's kind of the move here. Sanguro, Bon Clay. Yeah. I mean, we have tons of 2Ks. I can block her in next turn if I need to. Bon Clay into her probably, perhaps. What's she? I guess I could go into him. Let's see. How do we want to do this? Because I need some attacks to go through. Let's go 7. Okay, so he does use the buff. Interesting. So I think what I'm going to do, I just swing here for 6. The building snake is going to cook something next turn. It's going to be a problem, but let's go 6 here. Probably get a 2K, I'm assuming. Because we have Uso Hachi next turn. And so I can rest this. He gives us 2 1Ks. Crazy. Okay. That's even better. And we've got 8. So yeah, we go here. We go here. Trash this. Oh my god. 2K city, guys. Okay. So again, Shanks is on a heavy deterrent right now. I have a decent amount of blockers to just keep Luffy in. I'm assuming he's going to try and swing into this. We'll see. Yeah, so we get the Shanks down, which is great. So he KOs the Builder Snake. So we go 8-8. Does he use everything here? We go 4-8, 9. And then he gets 1, 2, 3 more attacks. So 1, 2. I would like to keep this because we have 3 attacks to go through next turn. But I mean, we could probably just do it with this stuff. Try and keep it. I'm going to try and keep it. So we got 8. Yeah, so we burn a blocker here. I can't. Yeah, okay. We'll give him this. I see what we do here. Because he swings. Yeah, we give him the Usohachi, this, and we give him this. And then he swings with this. We give him the other blocker. And then he swings with leader. We block. And we can potentially even block again if we need to. Yeah. So we go here. Because if he burns the blocker to get through that, yeah, great. Then it doesn't even matter to us. Because now we just go here. And we can burn Usohachis. GG's. GG's, friends. So we go, what, 9 here? 9. Let's go 9. 9. 9. Yeah, we'll just have to see what we can cook here. Okay, takes that. This is a 5, so we'll go 2. This is a 7. So yeah, we just go 9, 9. I mean, 9, 9, what? 12? 11, 12? Something like that. Okay, he does buff out of that. See what we can do here, friends. We'll see what we can do here. Oh, GG's. GG's. He just split, guys. Yeah, we had the Bond Clay coming up with 11. Oh, man. GG's. All right, so we are in it with a Blackbeard, and they are taking first from us. I don't have a Bond Clay in hand, which would be kind of what I'd want here. I do have Kamazo, though, which can just body Doc if I can use it correctly. One mulligan here. Okay, so we do have we got Bond Clay now, so we're good. He can have that. So yeah, we'll Bond Clay here. We'll see if he gives us, you know, our ability is really what'll happen first. Do we counter out of this? I guess not. It doesn't really matter. Because we'll go down to 3 next. What's he put in here? Doc. It does put in Doc. Doesn't black hole us, which is good though. Do we care to use our ability? So we'll be at 7 next turn. I guess not. Yeah, we're basically on curve here, so let's just go ahead and do this. It's too bad we can't get this. I mean, if he uses Doc here to KO this, that's totally okay with me. Yeah, fine with me, man. So unfortunately, we can't get the on-play rush now. And he'll get KO'd pretty much immediately. So let's go ahead. We'll give him his 1 card here. What do we go? We go Sanji here, I guess. Go Sanji into... Yeah, I mean, we just Sanji, I guess. That's unfortunate, but he could just remove Sanji next turn. Interesting problem. So let's just go ahead and end the turn. Because if he can, you know, Sanji, you know, Liberation or whatever that card is, or like he can Van Augur. Yeah, and then what, 4 cost? Yeah. Liberation, literally what I just said. Kind of to be expected, but it is what it is. Okay, puts another Doc in. I hate taking 5K swings. They're just so like, they just don't feel good. So she's useful, he's useful. Kind of all this is useful. I'll just take it for now. Okay, so we do get Black Hold here. Okay, so he will be at 9 next turn. So we pretty much have to get rid of Van Augur here. So we've got 9. So I could go 7 into Augur. He'd have a 2K maybe. Could Go Kid here. Kid's not great, but let's just try this. Let's go 7 here. Okay, gives us that. Takes the card draw. And we'll go with another Sanji here. So he's at 9. So, okay, another Augur. Okay, same play. Great, wonderful. Kid is not going to be useful right now, I don't think. Burgess. He doesn't... Okay, oh, I see what he's trying to do. He's trying to lure us into attack there. He does black hole us, so we can go Luffy. I mean, honestly, I don't know why I wouldn't just develop a Lin here. He's a 7. Yeah, I feel like we develop Lin. Painful. Painful, hard to say, because Lin's only a 9. He's an 8, and then we still have a lot of Dawn to attack with. And I'd like to get this guy down at least a little bit in life coming up here. But we clear this. Yeah, let's go 8 on 6. Sure. And then we'll develop another Luffy. Go 7, give him another card because it is what it is. We got to do it. Okay, so he does get his Blackbeard in. Goes 5 here, which we just do not take. She could be useful here in a little bit. I actually think she could very much be useful. Yeah. Because we can develop this and this. Yeah, this will be okay. Okay, so let's go what? 5, 7. So we need 3 Dawn extra. So we can go 8. We can go like 8, 7, 8 here. Take 2 of them. Well, we'll see. Because if he blocks, let's go 7 with leader. Because if he blocks this with Blackbeard, yeah, no way. Okay. And then this guy can't attack. So we go 1, 2. So we've got 5, 7. I guess that's actually fine because I'm not giving an attack in. So let's go 5. We'll go 7 and end the turn. And the reason I want to do that is because I don't want to give him the option to attack into this. So he probably Blackbeards us again here, I'd assume. You got to assume that's what's coming. Stronger. Okay. Interesting. Not another Blackbeard. Ditches Vasco. Okay, so he's trying to get rid of... Weird that he got rid of that. Like, all right, I'm fine. Fine with that. Even Uso Hachi here. Yeah, I mean, kind of okay with that. So we won't take this one. He'll attack with this. We'll definitely take this. Yeah. Take that. Okay, another Burgess. Black holes us. I mean, that hand is looking soft. Very soft. So we can get another blocker. I mean, we could develop 2 blockers here and probably get him down close to lethal next turn. I think that's what we'll do. Yeah, he's just taking these. Let's see. Do we keep him up? So he can, yeah. Yeah. Because then we pitch this and we can draw cards. We'll pitch Lin here because we're black holed and she's useless. And then we'll play Sanji out. And we have 2 blockers. Yeah, that's what we'll do. So let's go here. Oh, right, no on plays. Perfect. Don't even have to pitch any cards. And we'll go here, end the turn. So here he's got to do another blocker. I mean, he's got to either put a Vasco or another Blackbeard down. I'm not, it's hard to say. I don't know which one. Or a bunch of Vascos. I mean, he's in a tough spot here. He's got 1 blocker. Okay, so he jacks us. So he's going to KO a blocker here. Which one? I don't know. Probably, yeah, her. So he's going to try and go for a game, I'm assuming here. So he's going 7 there. That's crazy to me because we can just counter that. Yeah, so he has 1 blocker, 2 life, and yeah, no, we'll counter this because here's what'll happen. We counter this because I want to save this guy as an attacker. Yeah, so now we don't need to sack him as a blocker. So yeah, we get him out and then he attacks here. Yep, we take this. That's cool. And crazy. Yeah, so we're good. Because now we just go 9 because he's got 3 in hand. So yeah, we go 9 and the rest is history, I think. We'll see. We'll see because he has to block this. Okay, takes that one. And he got that trigger, but crazy to use that. I mean, I guess it's not crazy, but now we go 9 again because, yeah, there's nothing in hand he could have. Yeah, okay. Okay, and all in. And GG's. G freaking G's, boys.